CBS Sports Radio. Ever partied in space before?
I loved it.
Well, then jump aboard the mothership. It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, what's up, DA? Commission to enter the mothership, brother.
Making this long night easier to get through.
Hey, DA, love your show, man. You're the best.
What's going on, Dirty?
What's going on? How are you?
DA, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling great.
I'm doing great.
Happy Tuesday to you, boys and girls. The DA Show on the ever-expanding CBS Sports Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining us. I got one question for you. How do you feel?
Well, I feel good, and I'm doing well.
Well, that's all that matters, isn't it?
You listen to me, DA. You shut your mouth, and you shut it good.
I apologize. My hands are up. Fourth and final hour of the DA Show. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you dropping on by. We remind you we are streaming live at cbssportsradio.com. We are also on your app, the CBS Sports app. One-touch stream. It's awesome. It's free. Breaking news, personalized with your favorite teams, and you can stream the DA Show or the rest of CBS Sports Radio on it for free. One touch. Also, we are available on iTunes and full show podcasts. So if you missed anything or want to hear it again, iTunes is the best way to go see that. If you use iTunes, just search the DA Show, CBS Radio. You could also check us out, Facebook, Twitter. We post them all there as well each and every night after the show, facebook.com/The DA Show. When you go there, like the show page and
Yeah, get my timeline popping.
your timeline will be popping. Also, follow us on Twitter, DA on CBS. All right, lots to get to here on the show. Had such an interesting and animated and debate-filled conversation / argument with Jamie Dukes, 92.9, The Game in Atlanta, CBS radio station down there. Also from the NFL Network. So we will replay some of that because that was really interesting. We definitely disagree on the believability, if you will, of the NFL surrounding Deflate-Gate. Bum, bum, bum. That's coming your way here in about 16 minutes from now. But we begin this hour, as we always do, getting you caught up to date on the first 3 hours of the DA. It's 5-Minute Mothership.
So what did you miss? Glad you asked. It's 5-Minute Mothership.
So let's begin with the New England Patriots responding to these allegations. What you'll hear is audio that was dug up from WEEI in Boston from a couple of years ago, where Brady admitted he likes a deflated football. Again, this is not in context with the recent game, but this is from a couple of years ago. Followed up by a teleconference Belichick had earlier today, where he's asked directly about the allegations, and hear his very deft Belichickian non-answer.
When Gronk scores is like 8 touchdowns a year, he spikes the ball and he deflates the ball, which I love that because I like, the deflated ball, but I feel bad for that football because he puts everything he can into those spikes.
We'll cooperate fully with whatever, whatever the league wants us to, whatever questions they ask us, whatever they want us to do.
I'm just curious what you think of the topic and if that could potentially be an advantage for a team.
Look, you're asking the questions. I'm just trying to answer them.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Well, you could answer the question. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm just answer the question. Technically, you're not. See, that's the whole thing here. I ask a question, and then you have to answer it. You cannot answer the question with, I'm trying to answer the question, because that's not an answer. The callers, you have had your run on this over the course of the night, and opinions have come from everywhere.
The guy gets the interception, runs it to his trainer, I guess that's what he did with it, and said, hey, this ball feels funny. What if the guy got the ball on the sideline? Now all of a sudden the visiting team has access to a ball, and let's say they let the air out to cause suspicion. That's just as believable as saying the home team deflated a bunch of balls.
That $10 an hour ball boy is an NFL employee, not a New England Patriot employee. And if they're playing at the Colts, it's not a Colts employee, it's still an NFL employee as part of the officiating crew. So you would actually have to have collusion on part of the NFL in order to let the air out of the balls after they've been weighed.
The ball did go to a few of the Colts players that's pretty ticked off at the time. So you can't necessarily prove that New England, if the ball was deflated, that it was New England and not an angry Colts player trying to give New England something to take to the Super Bowl with them. Being that it is so hard to get a deflated ball on the field. Maybe it happened when it come off the field.
I think the big debate here is, when were these tampered with? Was it before the game, and did both teams have to play with them? Because if both teams had to play with them, then the advantage is merely that Tom Brady would rather have a deflated football, even if it helps Andrew Luck as well, which is kind of bizarre. Unless they were specifically being deflated on the sideline only when the Patriots had possession. But we had a caller say that's not how it works, that as soon as the ball's in circulation, the official kind of decides when to use it, when not to use it. I think what's most interesting is that the NFL is launching an investigation, at least of some sort. Now, who knows how toothless it'll be, but they're keeping this thing in the news. People want to say it's a media creation. The NFL is actively investigating this, so it can't be media created, at least not yet. When the NFL says there's nothing to see here, which you know they will, and if it has legs after that, then fine. But at this point, the NFL is keeping this in the news. We just had John Solomon join us from CBSSports.com. Interesting conversation at the end of last hour about the NCAA giving back the wins to Penn State and Joe Paterno. And at this point, it does kind of feel like investigations and probations and penalties by the NCAA just as nonsensical as the NFL's investigations.
There's never been a death penalty since SMU, so every so often you hear it brought out, but it hasn't been used. It got brought out some and mentioned with Alabama and Albert Means in the early 2000s, and you heard about it a little bit with Miami and Nevin Shapiro and then Penn State. But it's a really, really big stick, and the NCAA has always been very afraid to do it again because of the ramifications of the SMU case. It really set that program back a number of decades, really.
And I think the NCAA's investigative arm has so little credibility now anyway. You look at what happened with Nevin Shapiro in Miami, how badly they foobarred that one. When the reaction to the Penn State thing came down, I mean, it really was just a reaction. It was just try to quiet all of the concerns of the public and the media. How dare this? How can this happen? This is grotesque. And it was. It still is. But you can just see they kind of never had the stomach to really carry that out because Penn State, a couple of years later, 3 years later, is essentially all fine again. I mean, they lifted the bowl ban, scholarships, the wins, no longer vacated. The NCAA doesn't have any credibility when it comes to actually punishing schools because they back off of it or just don't ever get it done, like Miami. That's your 5-minute mothership. All right, so we were asking a 3-pronged question tonight about Deflate-Gate. Number 1, is this a big deal? Number 2, will the NFL do anything? And number 3, will it affect the football game, the Super Bowl? Let's start with 1, boys. Numero uno. I really have a tough time being convinced this is that big a deal. Mraz, you think it is a big deal.
Yes, because cheating, big or small, is still cheating, and they cheated in a championship game to get to a Super Bowl. Whether they would have won the game or not, they still cheated, and that's a big deal.
Is it a big deal because of Spygate in your mind that they're always doing this?
I think it enhances it, sure, because the Patriots haven't won a Super Bowl since Spygate. That's all anybody talks about. They're the team always getting pegged for cheating, and now just when people are getting behind and maybe more people root from, here they are cheating again. It's just another black eye for the NFL.
Steve-O, is this a big deal?
No.
No.
I don't think it's a big deal.
Why?
Because I think we're making it to be a big deal. I think the NFL doesn't even think it's a big deal.
Well, they're investigating.
Yeah, they have to.
Do they?
I think so.
Okay.
If somebody brings something to their attention, they have the responsibility. They have to bring it. They have to look at it further.
Okay. So the second prong of this is, will the NFL end up doing anything? I am a firm believer nothing will come of this. The NFL will not want to dock a draft pick Super Bowl week. It'll make this the story instead of the Super Bowl. That's the last thing they want. We know how ridiculous they looked anyway with the Ray Rice investigation and everything. I am convinced nothing will come of this week. I don't think it's going to come with this at all. I'm absolutely adamant it will not. Mraz?
I think they will find a way to push this off till after the Super Bowl. I mean, heck, look at all that talk when Mike Tomlin was tripping Jacoby Jones on the sideline. I think ultimately the Patriots are going to end up losing a draft pick for this.
They're going to find out an excuse to delay this decision until
100%
after the game?
Because they don't want anything clouding the Super Bowl. But in the end, they're going to have to do something because this is obviously going to be a problem. And if the Patriots get away with it, well, who's to say every team isn't just going to make sure they do that next year?
So you think they'll find something here?
Yeah, I do. I really do think they're going to find something. And I think they're going to, I don't know if they'll lay the quote-unquote hammer, but I could see them taking away a 7th-round pick, let's say.
Will the NFL do anything to the Patriots, Steve-O?
I don't think they're going to be able to find anything, so no.
All right. And number 3, will this affect the football game coming up on Sunday? Some have said, well, the Patriots can use this as motivation like they did in 2007 to say, see, we don't need this. You could say it could be a distraction this week. I tend to believe I'm going to probably edge toward the Seahawks anyway. I think they're a better football team overall. I think they're going to harass Brady pretty good. We'll do a lot of dissection about the game next week, but I don't think it really changes my opinion what's going to happen on the football field. Mraz?
I think it doesn't affect it because, A, it's not going to be more of a distraction because the Super Bowl week as a whole is a distraction anyway.
True.
And B, I mean, when it comes down to it on the field, I mean, who really cares? When they if you need extra motivation to play in a Super Bowl, you shouldn't be in the Super Bowl anyway. So how much extra oomph does that really give them when they take the field? You're taking the field in the freaking Super Bowl.
Could it affect the Super Bowl Sunday, Moralia?
I liked the caller that said, yes, it could. It could be motivation. Granted, I agree with you.
It could help the Patriots, you
yes,
thought.
I do. I think that's Belichick loves that. Brady loves that. He's right. They do have these articles taped up on their board. I'm sure that something's, I'm sure that it gives them, it's not going to give them any added oomph going into the game, but sure. Why not?
Well, you are saying that it will give them.
Yeah, I'm saying that it will give them motivation, but I'm not saying, you have a ton of motivation going into a Super Bowl game, but why not have a little bit more?
All right, so we posed this to you guys here on the phones at 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Chad is in Calgary, listening on 960. What's up, Chad?
What's going on, man?
How are you, bro?
Yeah, I got there's so much confusion about this thing. Like, they talked about the NFL weighing the balls. Last time I checked, air doesn't weigh anything. It ain't going to make a difference.
Well, no,
so
depending on
weighing have to do with it.
No, depending on pressure. I mean, a deflated ball is going to weigh less than an inflated ball.
No, I don't. It's air.
No, but the pressure of the air, wouldn't that make it heavier?
No, it's air.
You're telling me that there wouldn't be a weight differential on an inflated ball versus a non-inflated ball?
It's air. It doesn't matter what you fill. As long as you're not filling it with water, air is air. Not enough. How much are they putting in? Like, you're talking.
This is a very bad discussion for Sports Talk Radio because none of us are smart.
No, and I got another thing too.
Smart enough to figure this out. But wait a second. Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure. So why would footballs be weighed then?
That's what I'm talking about. Why? What does it matter? Like, if there's a bit of air missing, I don't understand. Like, who gave them the ball afterwards? The Colts? They're sore losers, so they emptied a bit of air out of it? Like,
we need a scientist. That's it. None of us are smart enough here. I graduated college. Moralia did as well. It took Mraz 5.5 years at a 4-year school, but he did it as well. Do we think an inflated football weighs more?
Yes, it's not about of course, air around you doesn't weigh, but when air is packed in, that's called air pressure.
Okay.
And when the air pressure is condensed into a small mass, that pressure weighs something. I learned this in science from time to time. Yeah, so it's not the air, quote unquote, it's the air pressure that we're weighing.
Boy, this is such a dopey conversation
and
to have.
Air particles do have weight. So, yeah, you have to, it definitely does.
Now, wait a second, okay. Because let's take like a blimp. A blimp deflated weighs more or weighs less than a blimp inflated, right? Because that's a lot of air.
I guess, but
that
air
would have
air
some type
molecules
of weight.
have weight.
There is some type of atomic weight there. I would imagine.
You're 100% right. I don't know what he was thinking.
Does an inflated football weigh more?
I'm sure it does.
My inclination is it does. We need a scientist. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. Now, you want to break down how ERAs are compiled? We can definitely do that. If you want to discuss how many yards Morgan Burnett could have carried the football had he not taken a knee in the NFC Championship game, we could definitely do that. But trying to figure out whether an inflated football weighs more than a deflated football, a bunch of us knuckleheads have no idea. Scott's in Iowa. He's on 1700. Hello, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, I would be doing better if I had this answer. What do you have for me?
Well, I homeschool my son. We have just covered this literally yesterday.
Oh, okay.
The guy who just called apparently didn't graduate from high school.
All right. I thought I wasn't crazy here. Tell me why.
Air has mass. Air is matter. It has weight to it. And when you fill a ball, or anything else for that matter, the air that is inside of that will add to the total mass of the object.
Even as much of a football, like we're not talking about a huge amount of air, but even the amount in a football does change the weight.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I'm not saying it changes it from 5 pounds to 20 pounds, but it will change the weight, the feel, and the aerodynamics of the ball.
Definitely the aerodynamics. Okay, this is good. We're getting educated here. We need this. This is what I said earlier in the night. Callers are a sports talk show's best friend because we're so stupid. We need some help on conversations like this. Jesse's in South Carolina on 105.5. Hello, Jesse.
Hey, DA, how are you?
I'm doing well. Well, I would be doing better. Give me some clarification on this.
Okay, so I'm a cyclist, and so when we put air into the bicycle tire, it's called PSI.
Okay.
Pounds per square inch.
Right.
So if you have a deflated tire, it doesn't weigh anything. But if you put so much pounds per square inch of air into a tire, then it weighs something.
So there is a weight there, a weight differential.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's 2 votes for yes. Jerry's in Idaho on 93.1. Hello, Jer.
Yeah. I'm thinking that you're confusing the weight of the ball with the weight of the poundage that's in the ball.
If I put a football on a scale and it's completely deflated, and then a football on a scale and it's completely inflated, will the weight fluctuate?
Very little.
But it will.
The weight, yes, but very, very little, and not enough to call it weighing the football in the sense of pounds from 1 pound to 12 pounds or whatever.
Or even an ounce or a half an ounce?
Maybe as much as a half an ounce.
Okay, but it would be a discernible weight difference. I mean, a half an ounce is at least something.
It's something, but the weight is what is a term used as to the pressure that's in the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So if the ball has less pressure in it, obviously it can be gripped a little bit better and caught a little bit better. It's softer to the hand.
Sure.
So if the ball is doesn't have or has too much weight in it, obviously it's going to have more tension, and therefore when the balls are weighed, they're weighed as to the pressure that is in the ball.
Okay.
So I'm sure they have a scale when they weigh that football that tells them if it's between certain parameters that, it's between 12 and 12.5 pounds of pressure.
I see.
So
it wouldn't necessarily be in our traditional thought of weight. Okay, I gotcha. Colin is in Toledo. He's on 106.5. Hello, Colin.
Hi, how you doing?
How are you, man?
I'm pretty good. Hey, I'm a formulation chemist out here, and
very good.
Every molecule has a weight on the periodic table. So when we're talking PSI, we're talking carbon dioxide and oxygen. Each one of those has an atomic weight to it. Therefore, the more of those molecules pumped into the ball, the more atomic weight given to it. Therefore, the more it would weigh.
So what would be the differential in weight of an inflated football versus a deflated football?
I couldn't tell you, but I could tell you that it's possible. I don't know offhand, of course.
Yeah.
But I could tell you it's possible to calculate a differential. So these guys who are doing the weight have determined that weight based off of what a inflated ball is based off of scientific calculations. Therefore, if the ball is deflated the amount of molecules in the ball is going to be below what their recommended level is for the weight of that ball.
See, I love this. You guys are so smart. Wicked smart. This is why we need the listeners. This is why we need the callers. This is why we need you. Because one guy calls up and says, it's air. It doesn't weigh anything. And the rest of us are like, oh, well, maybe he's right. Wait, is that guy right? I don't know. Is that guy right? 855-212-4CBS. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We needed that here. A dose of sanity and education.
New time slot, same mothership.
Hey, DA, used to bring me into work every morning. I need permission to board the mothership.
Well, come aboard, bud.
DA on CBS Sports Radio.
42 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. DA with you on the Monday following the AFC NFC Championship games. You can always ask the pro. You, the listener, gets to ask me a question. We should just call this Ask DA. Ask the pro. So presumptuous that any of us idiots are pros.
Congrats on that.
That I'm a pro?
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
We should have them ask you eating questions since you're kind of a professional eater.
Pump the brakes, me being a professional eater. I got exposed by a professional eater last July.
You did, but you have competitively eaten before.
That's true.
So
that's true. That works.
You didn't win, but you did compete in competitive eating.
Yeah, I guess if you show up, you still get a medal, right?
You're an amateur competitive eater, maybe. So not
I'm in the
pro.
books.
You're in there. So ask me a question, any question. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Email your question to askthepros@cbsradio.com. See, there's the rub. We couldn't quite change the email handle to Ask the DA. askthepros@cbsradio.com. We'll be listening. You should be listening later on in the show when we will definitely answer your question, the myriad of questions we always get. It's time to answer Ask the Pros a little bit later on in the program, and that's always brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Sign up to be an O Rewards member today. Start earning instantly $5 back on every $150 that you spend. Fast, easy, and free, and only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Vince Wilfork had a hell of a day. Obviously ends up winning the AFC Championship game with the New England Patriots. On to yet another Super Bowl for the Pats. And on his way home, he helped save a human being. Wait, what? At nearly 1 a.m., troopers assigned to the state police barracks in Foxborough responded to reports of a vehicle that was rolled over on Route 1, right there in the town of Foxborough, where the stadium is, Gillette Stadium. Troopers arrived to find a Jeep Wrangler rolled onto its side. To their surprise, there was Vince Wilfork beside the vehicle checking on the operator. The operator of the vehicle was 38-year-old Mary Ellen Brooks of Hanson, Massachusetts, who was unable to get out of the vehicle. One of the state troopers stated that he held the driver's door of the vehicle open, and Vince reached in and lifted the operator out of the vehicle with one hand. Wilfork departed the scene after he was ensured that the troopers didn't need any further assistance. EMS and Foxborough Fire Department responded to check on Mary Ellen Brooks. So all was fine and well. Thankfully, it's just an amazing story that here's Vince Wilfork on his way home from the game. There's a Jeep that's turned over, and here's Vince basically like the Incredible Hulk tipping the thing over, and then when he finally has a little bit of help, they open up the door and he goes, "Yeah, I got her," and grabs her with one arm and yanks her out. That's Vince Wilfork for you. That's a monster of a man. The forklift. But there wasn't necessarily a happy ending because Mary Ellen Brooks was subsequently placed under arrest. For what? Operating under the influence of alcohol. Not that drunk driving is funny, okay? But you have to love this story that sounds like it would end so well. Vince Wilfork is a hero. The woman comes out and kisses him, hugs him. He saves her cat from a burning building. Here's Superman Vince Wilfork. Now she's arrested because she was slobberknocker, dude. The Patriots had just won another AFC championship game. What am I supposed to do? Not knock back a few nips? I had a case of Sam Light. I had to finish it. I was coming from my girlfriend's house over there in Hanson. And then, what do you know? I roll over my Jeep, and there's Vince Wilfork to help me. I prayed to God, and he came. I mean, you have Mary Ellen is the happiest Patriots fan ever. She's got a story for life. Oh, dude, I was hammered, but it didn't matter because I rolled over my Jeep. I thought I was going to die right there in Foxborough, and I was going to be totally fine because the Patriots were back in the Super Bowl, dude. But there was a God. There was an angel, Angel Vincent, who swooped down from Gillette Stadium and saved me with one arm. God bless Vince. That is the best. That is the best. That is the best story. I'm sorry, ma'am. You're under arrest. But he saved my life. But you can't walk a straight line. You just blew a .42. But the Patriots just are going to the Super Bowl again, officer. Please let me go. What a classy broad that is, huh? Classy broad.
That accent is only slightly better than Blake Lively's in the town.
855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. George is next up. He's in L.A. listening on 980 The Beast. What's going on, George?
Hey, DA, what's going on?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. What's going on?
Well, there ain't going to be no rabbit out of a hat in the Super Bowl. If they don't straighten up, it's going to be a beatdown, DA. My gosh.
If who doesn't straighten up what?
Russell Wilson throwing interceptions.
Yeah, he needed all 9 of his lives, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, rabbit out of a hat, whatever you want to call it. Very fortunate guy that he has a team around him that could absorb that and just give up, 6 points on 5 turnovers. You're not going to get that every day. If that game's played 100 times, they lose 99 times. It's just basically a miracle.
Well, on the one hand, you go, Russell Wilson deserves a lot of credit for being able to put that all in the rear view. I mean, this is why you really like Russell Wilson late in games. Whatever has happened early in the game, he does not care about. Now, you could have never seen this coming because he was always fantastic so far in his postseason career in not turning the football over. He was never careless. And so for all those interceptions, all these stupid plays that he made, you go, wow, where did this come from? But he turned it around. And so, look, he's got to play better than that to win the Super Bowl because you can't keep putting your defense in that position, especially against a quarterback like Tom Brady. If Aaron Rodgers was 100%, maybe that's totally different that game. But on the other hand, you got to give Russell Wilson credit. Look, there's blame to go around because he dug his own hole, but he dug himself out of that hole. And once they got a little bit of momentum, he just looks like a different guy. Really. Chris is next up in Boston. He's listening online. You can, too, using the CBS Sports app. What's going on, Chris?
Not much, DA. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Congratulations to your Patriots.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Seattle. The devil is in the details. As far as I'm concerned, the Pats might just have enough smarts to overcome the Seattle swag. And Seattle is definitely young, tough, overpowering, and attitude central, but I think the Patriots might be able to just not make more mistakes than them, make less mistakes, I should say, and I'm hoping that the Patriots can do it, and that's my take.
All right, man. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I think turnovers and mistakes could definitely define this game. Look, last year in a lot of ways to define the game because the Broncos made a mistake right out of the chute with the bad snap and a safety. And then Manning throws an INT, and before you know it, here's the snowball rolling downhill on you. So the Seahawks have a tendency to do that to somebody. Now, the Patriots will be mentally prepared. They will be technically prepared. You know that's what happens when it's a Bill Belichick team. But you've got to limit mistakes because it's a very tight game. The good thing is that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, this feels like a great matchup. You know, it's hard not to be excited about this type of chess match. But absolutely, the turnovers really should have defined the the NFC Championship game. In a lot of ways, the mistakes did define the AFC Championship game because the Colts couldn't afford to make any. I talked about this. They couldn't afford to make one. They made multiple, and they never forced the Patriots into any. I mean, the one interception near the goal line, but by that time, it almost felt like the game was out of reach anyway. Rojo is next up. Oklahoma City listening on 105.3 there. What's up, Rojo?
DA, what's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. On my way to work right now. Permission aboard?
Permission, Grant.
Yes, sir, man. You had me cracking up with that story, man, with that action.
How nuts is that?
That's crazy, man. Like, you coming from the AFC Championship game, and then you got something like that just happens. It's like, that's kind of bizarre.
Totally bizarre.
But real quick about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I know the Patriots, they really game plan to their opponent. Baltimore, they had to spread it out the pass. Against the Colts, they had to run it. What do you think they might do against the Seahawks?
I think the Patriots will once again really try to run the football because LeGarrette Blount gives you such a different dimension that you have with Shane Vereen and Jonas Gray, and that is a sledgehammer. You know, that powerful ground game is a lot like what they had in 01 with Antoine Smith. It's a lot like they had with Corey Dillon in 03 and 04. That power run game, as you saw, takes so much pressure off of Brady. And I think once you've seen what has not worked in the playoffs before against Brady, then Belichick is prone to obviously change that, alter it, and that's what he's going to try to do here. Like I said before, what's the one constant when the Patriots have lost games, including the Super Bowls? The opposing team has brought the noise, gotten to Brady, knocked them around, off rhythm, and he's a shell of himself. That's been the way it always has been. So how do you prevent that? Well, you don't become one-dimensional. You have to keep the pass rush off of number 12. How do you do that? You have to run the football effectively. You have to wear down the opposing front seven. Blunt is perfect. How different is yesterday's game if they don't have LeGarrette Blount? And think about that. If he doesn't bitch and moan to get more carries in Pittsburgh because Le'Veon Bell was the number one back, he's a member of the Steelers. Steelers might still be playing. No, I don't know if he's the difference of the Steelers playing for the Super Bowl and losing the wild card, but you know what I mean. That was kind of, a gift from above. It was like Vince Wilfork saving Mary Ellen out of the Jeep. It just so happened late in the season, a really good running back that the Patriots couldn't afford in the offseason, that they waved goodbye to, who was there last year, comes in on the waiver wires. It was all too perfect. So I think you're going to see a lot of LeGarrette Blount in that Super Bowl.
It's a cosmic cocktail party somewhere in the galaxy. DA. The mothership is right now hovering above your city. DA.
Beat me up on the mamas of all mama ship.
Hey, I'm looking through my telescope and I see a mothership. Is that you? Beam me up.
Hey, DA, I'm thirsty, man. Can you beam me up for a cold one?
Hey, DA, what's going on, baby? Stop me off and beam me up.
Yay, what's the dilly?
Oh, permission to get in that mothership.
Is my window seat still available? Beam me up.
What's going on, DA? Hey, man, I need you to do me a huge favor. My coworker's a jerk, so just beam me up, man.
Get beamed up. Everyone else has. It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
Hour 2 here on the DA Show. Thanks for being with us on a Tuesday. DA with you on the ever-expanding CBS Sports Radio Network. We come to you live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. O'Reilly, better parts, better prices every day. Is Inflate-Gate, Deflate-Gate worth the paper it's printed on, worth the controversy it's getting? We ask you that tonight here on the show. Holler at us, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We have a series of questions about this. A, is it a big deal to you? B, do you think the NFL does anything? C, does it affect the Patriots on the football field? Here to help us answer some of those questions is a good friend of the DA Show. You see him on the NFL Network. You've seen him as an analyst on the NFL many times before. He's got a book that's out as well that we'll talk to him about coming up here. Jamie Dukes joins us on the DA Show. Jamie, how are you, my man?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to ask you the same series of questions we've been asking the callers tonight. Number one, is Deflate-Gate a big deal in your mind?
No, not really. 'Cause especially when you think about it, the play that they're talking about, from what I just saw online, was DeQuell Jackson. Now, he plays for who now? The New England Patriots, or does he play for the Indianapolis Colts?
The Colts, yes, the Colts.
Okay, so he intercepted a deflated ball.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So that would mean that Tom Brady was also, if there was a deflated ball, was throwing a deflated ball.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So should this be over now yet, or do we have to wait a little longer?
Well, I guess the idea is that it's easier to grip, and in wet situations that might have helped Brady, and that might have hurt the Colts if they did not have the deflated ball. But you played the game. You can tell us, is that an advantage?
I have no idea what the deal is with all of this, candidly. It's so shall we look for another excuse to I mean, and I don't know if anybody saw what Tom was throwing out there the other day. I didn't see pristine Tom Brady.
Right.
Unless maybe I missed the memo, because I saw him hitting guys, and they were. It was in the general vicinity, but Tom Brady that I normally know that hits guys in stride. I saw a lot of bad passes from Tom Brady too.
Let me ask you, being a former player and being around players in the game and coaches and everything, is there always a paranoia or a concern that the Patriots are bending rules? Because we've seen this now the last 2 weeks. Or is this just something that pops up and can be media-driven?
No, I think it's a narrative. Because think about it. We all have these. I mean, you've been doing this long enough, DA, to know that when you got the callers and you start to recognize callers, and the callers have the same agendas. One caller, Fred, hates Eli Manning. So everything that happens, global warming can happen, and somehow it was going to find its way back for that caller to Eli Manning because it was something that Eli Manning did. And that's the same thing. For example, I thought it was pretty cheap, and I'm a big fan, by the way, of John Harbaugh. And for him to kind of float that, this thing felt kind of nefarious because they were trying to trick us thing. It's in the rule books, but it was kind of that whole thing, the same week that, Don Shula, made his little comments. And now Don's 85, so I'm going to give Don the pass. Because we know what happens at 85, and I'm just going to leave it at that, and older. But it's like so that's because I got to say something to kind of make me feel better about myself and why I didn't win.
Jamie Dukes joins us here on CBS Sports Radio. The next layer of this is: do we believe the NFL actually would do anything on the eve of the Super Bowl, like dock a draft pick from the Pats? That seems unlikely, right?
Sure, if they've got the proof, they sure will.
You think so?
Well, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Have you been watching the news? Did you not see what happened with that Rice fella from Baltimore? Used to be in Baltimore.
Yeah, I saw.
And that Peter Adrian something.
I saw a sliding rule book where Goodell didn't know what he wanted to do and kept.
He knew what he wanted to do at the end, and what we saw at the end was, here's the hammer. Get ready for the hammer. Nobody gets any nobody's going to be given any quarters. It's all but Adrian Peterson. Hey, you don't want to come see me? Here, I'll see you in April. Not I'll see. I mean, you already missed 9 games, but I'll see you in April. That's the new day.
Wow, so I'm really surprised that you really believe in NFL discipline like that. I mean, we just saw the investigation surrounding Ray Rice with the Mueller report, and that was totally toothless.
No, but was it toothless? No, you know what was really totally toothless? Let's talk about what was toothless. All right. The the integrity-filled AP reporter who alleged to basically have a source, who, by the way, a federal source that wasn't in the DEA, that was calling them on a burner phone that played some mysterious lady. Where's that lady at? Where is that person at? Where's that AP person's source at? Because, all of a sudden, and think about it, and the guy called from a burner phone, and you actually believe, we tried and believed because it was AP. So who is really the ones that we should be looking at?
Well, I mean, I don't want to reopen the Ray Rice thing, but
open it up.
But do you really believe that the NFL didn't have access to the video, Jamie?
Yeah, I do believe that.
Oh, come on!
No. Well, here's the deal. See, it's one thing to be a conspiracy theorist, and then the other thing is to look at the proof of it. Okay? And so, it's clear the Ravens, from what I understand, may have had access to it, but the NFL, because, again, you wouldn't want the NFL going through TMZ to get anything.
Yeah, but if the Ravens had access to it, we're saying that the commissioner's office did not?
No, but I don't know. Did the Ravens say they offered access to the NFL? I didn't see that report.
Well, everybody in law enforcement said if they would have just asked us, we would have sent it.
Well, I think that they showed you the documentation of the 4 requests that went to whatever law enforcement that they said they didn't give it to them. Now, it's easy for people to say this, but again, there are official requests that was written, and there are emails and documents to show the official request.
Well, I'm surprised. I mean,
here?
Look, we'll agree to disagree. I think that the NFL did such a poor job trying to access this video.
That's a different story now. Hey, I'm with you, DA. They did a poor story, but that doesn't mean we get to make up things because we want to fill our narrative. All I'm saying is, according to the documentation which is issued out, and that's why, again, how come nobody's calling into question this source of this AP person who still we don't know who it is, and the federal person who's not in the witness relocation program? What federal authority do you know uses a burner phone?
Well, I don't know, Jamie. There's a lot of things that happen within the government and law enforcement that the normal, average, everyday person would be surprised to hear about. Using a burner phone, would not surprise me in the least.
Well, wait a minute now, but think about this. What you're saying now, I get that if we're talking about some undercover DEA investigation. This was a simple act of domestic violence we're talking about. And the source had to use a burner phone?
Oh, are you kidding me?
That's got to smell.
The NFL would run you over. They'd run your grandmother over if it meant that they could cover their own tracks.
It's not about the NFL running you over. We're just saying it is factual that the AP source has said his source, alleged source, and this woman that nobody can identify was using a burner phone. The NFL didn't put that out there. The AP guy said that.
No, I realize that, and I think we're probably.
No, but you can't gloss over that.
No, but I think
that's fact.
I think we're fighting two different battles here. If you're asking for should the Associated Press and other media outlets be held responsible for their own journalistic integrity, I completely agree. But that's a different. But that's a different argument than should we always trust the NFL does everything on the up and up.
I didn't say no. That's not what I said. You at the original part.
Right. So that's what I'm arguing because it comes back to Deflate-Gate. Like should
but the point is now is that you asked if do you think the NFL would actually do something, and what I'm telling you and showing you examples of in recent history since the Ray Rice thing. Since the Ray Rice situation and the rededicated to, you know what, everybody's on your own, I'm just giving you examples of with Ray Rice, bye.
I know, but you're giving me an example that we should trust the NFL because we shouldn't trust the AP.
No, you said trust. You asked me a question.
Yeah, no, I know, but you keep bringing up the
question. Do I think? Let's go back to what you asked me.
Yeah.
You asked me, do I think the NFL, if they got proof, would drop the hammer on the Patriots?
Right.
I'm saying yes, and I'm supporting my argument by saying, see what happened to Adrian Peterson and Ray Rice post the
I got that,
taking over the NFL.
But I don't think that the normal fan can say I trust the NFL because look, the AP got it wrong.
But we never asked that question.
I know, but you keep bringing up the AP. Why do we care about the credibility of the AP?
Because what AP is showing you is that they dropped the hammer on AP. Follow the tea leaves.
Who, the NFL dropped the hammer on the Associated? Oh, you're talking about Adrian Peterson. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the Associated Press. Why do we care about the relevancy of the Associated Press?
Yes, no. I'm referring to Adrian Peterson. The hammer was dropped on by the commissioner. Ray Rice, the hammer was dropped on Ray Rice. And I'm saying to you, I believe that the hammer, if there is proof that somebody that they can find was responsible for those actions, draft choices will be taken, is what I believe.
Now, do you think that would be warranted?
Sure. Absolutely.
But you don't think it's a big deal that if they did deflate the football?
Oh, no, not at all. Because think about it. I mean, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's kind of how all professional sports has been.
Okay.
And it's always been that way. Go back to Spygate. All right, everybody was picking up stupid players who leave their rundowns and leave their game plans in the trash can at the stadium while they're going through the walkthrough. Everybody was doing that. folks were recording. You think the Patriots were the only team? Bill Belichick is so smart. He was the only one to devise the scheme to be able to say, hey, let's start recording the walkthroughs. You think that's okay? Of course not. Everybody does those kind of things to get competitive advantage all the time.
So it's not a big deal, but docking a draft pick would be warranted.
Sure, absolutely. And whatever they feel is the hammer would be warranted. If it, in this particular case, if that's what it calls for, is draft choices, which I have heard that would probably be the remedy for it, absolutely. Now, would it be a first-round pick? I'm not sure. But a second or third, because, again, you got to also send a message to everyone, it's a new day.
But isn't that an oxymoron? Isn't it an oxymoron to say everybody's doing it, not a big deal, but we should dock a draft pick?
No, you're asking me questions. I'm giving you the answers to my opinion. You see what I'm saying? And my opinion is, if you get caught, pay the piper. Pay the piper.
But so essentially, the Patriots are just it's bad luck that they got caught because a lot of teams do this type of stuff.
Well, I don't see now you're making assumptions.
I'm just trying to connect the dots to what your argument is.
No, I don't know. You asked me a question, and if the supposition was if. That's if. I don't know if they're guilty or not. You asked me if they were. I'm saying, yeah, if they were, hammer them.
I got a feeling you do this. Do you do sports talk for a living, Jamie? I got a feeling that you might.
I've never done it before. You think I got a future in it?
I think you might. Final question about this. Do you think it affects on the football field Super Bowl Sunday?
What is that?
The controversy surrounding this.
No, debate. I don't think so. No, I think these teams are both too mentally tough. Matter of fact, I still don't think Seattle realizes they won after what happened Sunday. That's one of the most amazing things. I'm still trying to get my mind around how they did that. So, I don't think it has. Because these are, when you get here, you are really battle tested. I will say this: the week before, I think that Indianapolis and their issues with, the alleged rape by the backup linebacker, the tackle missing the bus, they looked a little disjointed, and it looked like the moment was too big for them. But the Patriots have been there before. They're playing the world champs. I don't think that's a fact.
Jamie Dukes joins us here on CBS Sports Radio. I want to ask you about the book that you got out, Beware of Frenemals. A lot of people have heard of the phrase frenemies, but you've got frenemoles on this, which is also family members and friends and inner circle people. So why should maybe the former athlete or people in general be aware of their frenemoles?
Well, the key is that we all have them. And the thing that I wanted to do was raise the question, and that's why, for example, when you start talking about Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice, whether it be Darren Sharper, other guys, Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, so on and so forth, UDA, and from back in the day, we all have them. And I say it this way: there are three types: family, and that's family can enable dysfunctional behavior. Your mom, there was a girl that your mom knew was going to break your heart in high school, and she let you do it. She let you date her, and she knew that girl was no good for you. And now you got cousins now. Now it's your big-time radio guy in the big city. What are they doing now? People are calling you all the time, hey, man, can I hold something? So that's frenemy number one. Frenemy number two, these are people around you, people that smile in your face, and God knows how many people stabbed you in the back. I hear people on your show talking about DA beam me up. The reason they found out DA beamed me up is because DA was beamed up away from all of his frenemies. And then frenemy number three, that's the friend that's the enemy on the inside. That's the voice that encouraged us, so it's dangerous. That's the voice that told you, DA, you could do what you do right now, but it's also the same voice that told you to go have the extra scotch, pick that chick up at the bar, and have unprotected sex. So
you know my life too well.
Hey, it's your life, it's my life. That's what I'm saying, brother. We're brothers with this. That's what I'm saying. But the whole point of it is that we all have them, and the key part of the book is to try to help people understand that we have them, and we got to do a better job of dealing with them. And that's really what it's all about. You can get it at frenemals.com, FRENEMALS. And just so you know, the origin of the word is friend, obviously, people, peers, working. We are communal beings. And then there's the animal part of it. We all have carnivorous nature to us. It's self-preservation. It's the Darwinism in us all. So that's the origin of the word frenemoles.
All right, so check that book out, Beware of Frenemoles. That's by Jamie Dukes. You can find that online. You should follow him on Twitter as well, at Jamie Dukes, NFL Network, 92.9 The Game, and the ATL. He's all over the place. Jamie, man, we love catching up, brother, and we got to do this again, man.
Anytime, dude.
You be good. Jamie Dukes. joining us here on the DA Show. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Always entertaining. Always good stuff.
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
DA, what's going on? First thing first, I am in need of a trip, so permission to board that sweet mothership.
Put a glide in your stride and a dip in your hip and come on down to the mothership.
DA, greetings from Canada. Permission to board. How's it going, DA? Permission to board that big old mother thing. What's up, my brother? I'm doing good. It's been a while since I called, but I want permission to come aboard the mothership.
Asking permission to join a sports talk spaceship? Well, we're all a little crazy. The mothership has connected.
Permission to go to the second floor.
Me and my dog Elvis, we got to get over that ship. I was at the Department of Flying Vehicles.
Permission to board your ship. Permission to come aboard the mothership. Permission to come aboard. Yeah, beam me up.
Let me come aboard that mothership.
The mothership.
Connected. Welcome inside the DA Show's third hour on a Thursday night. Appreciate you dropping on by, spending some time with us live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. O'Reilly, better parts, better prices every day. Not a good day if you're a New England Patriot. If you're a New England Patriots fan, you're looking at those guys, and maybe you're defensive, maybe you're protective, maybe you want to believe in them, but I think if you're an unbiased observer, you're looking at both Belichick and Brady going, give me a break. Rolling your eyes. Neither one of those guys knew anything about the inflatable footballs or the deflatable footballs or the inflation-deflation rates. Got to get one over on me a different way because I'm sorry, I'm not buying. Your phone number is 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We'll talk to Mike Giardi, Comcast Sportsnet New England, who covered both those press conferences earlier today, coming up here in about 16 minutes from now. He's one of our Patriots go-to guys here on the show. I want to get his thoughts on what he saw and witnessed earlier today. So we'll do that. Get back to your phone calls as well. But first, a champ and a chump.
Only one letter separates them, but they're galaxies apart. One is a true winner. One is a pathetic loser. This is DA's Champ or Chump.
Your champ is Miss Canada, who turned a lot of heads today and went viral with a picture of her wearing a hockey-themed dress. Now, this dress is not any normal hockey-themed dress. Miss Canada is wearing a white wig with a Stanley Cup atop it. Her dress, the back of her dress has 8 hockey sticks or 10 hockey sticks sticking out from the back of it, looking like a spider, like a black widow. And what appears to be her dress, the lower part, her skirt area, is designed to be a hockey goal. This went everywhere today.
Hi guys, I'm Chanel and I'm from Toronto, Canada, Miss Universe Canada.
Now, we posted a picture of this in our Facebook page, and I go to Erica Herskowitz for a question. You being a female yourself, and I'm sure having dressed in some interesting numbers.
Yeah,
what
for
do you
sure.
make of this? The hockey
I love
themed
it.
You do?
I love it. Absolutely. What's wrong with it? It's phenomenal.
I
Did you see
kinda
the
like it as
scoreboard
well.
behind her too? She's
Yeah, there's
got
a
that
scoreboard.
right above her head.
This is about as unique and as creative as
I
it
mean,
gets.
I know a little something about Miss Universe. As
Yeah.
I am the 5 millionth runner-up
Okay.
to Miss
Interesting.
Universe.
Did you ever do
for Miss
pageant
USA.
stuff?
I never did. Does
Okay.
that surprise you? But I have to say, this is not the weirdest costume that was presented.
It's not the most normal.
It's not normal, but it's not the oddest. And I actually love it. I like the boots are pretty hot. I like the skirt that looks like a goal.
She's got boots up to her knees.
Yeah. I'm wondering, though, she has this scoreboard behind her. I get home 20, guest 14, a la 2014, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm not getting why it's the third period and there's 2 penalties. I mean, I don't know. If we really want to break it down, I'm not really getting the scoreboard, but she looks pretty good.
I kind of like everything about this except the spider tentacle.
Oh, you don't like that?
I don't like the hockey
I think
sticks.
it'd be good for, like,
The
self-defense.
sticks coming out of the back of her. That makes her look like a superhero villain.
Well, that's what's cool about it.
I kind of like everything else. Mraz, what do you think about the hockey-themed dress here?
I'm freaking in love. And let's be honest, what goes unnoticed here? How about those elbow pads? She's even got the elbow pads.
She does, and the shoulder pads.
She's there for the protection. Oh, my. Let me tell you something. I'm a big fan of, like, kind of weird stuff. I'm the biggest Lady Gaga fan you meet in the world. And that's the kind of thing she do, and I always think Gaga looks hot when she does stuff like this. This girl has it going on, and that dress just brings it to another level.
But do you like Gaga because she wore a meat costume?
Well, I just love all of Gaga's costumes.
Oh.
Gotta have thick meat.
I'm Gaga for Gaga.
Okay, all right. James Ward, the Wheels of Steel. How do we feel about the hockey dress on Miss Canada?
I like the dress. I'm not crazy about the wig. It's a little too Ben Franklin-ish for me.
How about the hockey sticks coming out the back of her like an arachnid?
I like it.
Okay.
I like the superhero vibe to it. The only thing I'm not crazy about is the wig.
Now, we posted pictures not only of this on our Facebook page, but also her in the swimsuit competition and wearing what appears to be kind of I don't know, is that a spandex? What kind of outfit is that? That's
space outfit?
Yeah, it's like a...
It looks like what you would wear in the gym to make you sweat a lot. I see these people
like
that come to the gym.
I see dominatrix there.
It's more dominatrix?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
I like the spaceship outfit.
Okay, it's kind of like Catwoman. Or maybe it's Fembot from Austin Powers?
Yeah, baby.
I don't know. I'm just surprised that Miss Canada can get away with that because don't they usually make Miss America to be a little bit more hoity-toity and classy? Like, I don't think Miss America's getting away with that. Do you?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably
so
not.
In Canada, they're kind of like, all bets are off.
You could be right.
It's something.
They got edge, but let's be honest. It's snowing half the year in Canada. They can't really go for the swimsuits, so put her in a nice-looking hockey outfit. I think you play to the crowd.
Out of the 3 pictures we posted on Facebook, which is your favorite, Mraz? Where does she look best? In the swimsuit, in the hockey outfit, or in the space outfit?
Well, this goes against everything I just said, but in the swimsuit, because the more skin, the better for me.
All right, Erica, which one would you vote for?
I like the third picture, the space suit.
You like the space suit?
Yeah, I like her face.
I think I might go hockey suit here. I kind of like the hockey dress. I think it... I don't know. For some reason, I think it actually, she can pull it off. So we posted that on our Facebook page. You can check it out yourself. Go there and like the show page.
Yeah, get my timeline popping.
If you're on Facebook, we'll get your timeline popping. That's facebook.com/The DA Show. So like the show page to become friends with the show. It's okay if you're not a member of Facebook. You can still check out our Facebook page as a normal website. Just go to facebook.com/The DA Show. But again, Miss Canada is your champ.
That's DA's champ.
Your chump is Dolphins head coach Joe Philbin, who was at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama this week to scout some talent before the NFL draft, and he tried to make his way down to the football field. And unfortunately, security didn't know who he was. He was at the morning practice and had to start yelling at the security guard, "Hey, I'm the head coach of the Dolphins." Apparently, nobody recognized him, and he had to have a journalist or a media credentialed area get kind of ushered through there. And then Philbin finally declared, "I'm the head coach of the Miami Dolphins." Loud enough for those in the bleachers to hear him. And finally, the embarrassed security guard allowed him through. You know, my feeling is that if it's Belichick or Pete Carroll or somebody else, Mike Tomlin, one of the Harbaughs, I don't think he has to raise his voice and say, "I'm the head coach." When it's Joe Philbin, they're like, "Aren't you the tax guy? Why is the accountant here?" Joe Philbin, your chump.
That's DA's chump. Class is now dismissed.
855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. Van is in Alabama on 97.3. What's up, Van? Van! All right.
I am the epic fail.
Sorry, buddy. Tony's next up, Vancouver, Washington, listening on Sports Radio 910. What's up, Tony?
Yeah, DA, this is the easiest thing for the NFL to figure out. It's up to Kraft and Belichick to come up with answers. The rules were broken. It's up to them to figure out who did it, or they pay the price.
Well,
Ignorance of the rules is no excuse. You can't go up with this, "I don't know nothing." That's not going to work.
Yeah, I wonder, do you think the NFL will punish them?
Well, they better. There's going to be an outcry if they don't.
Yeah, although there was an outcry over the Ray Rice situation, and they kind of had a...
But Goodell's got to do something about this. You just can't sit there and say, "I don't know nothing. I'm dumb." That don't work. If my company breaks something, and we all say we didn't do it, they still pay for it.
Yeah, I agree. That's the real world, Tony, except I don't know if the NFL is the real world. Look, this has become a big deal. So, yes, I would agree. I think something's going to happen, but I don't necessarily know that the NFL comes down harder on Belichick because he said, I don't know. My guess is they defer the investigation until after the Super Bowl. And sometime after the Super Bowl, they dock a draft pick and fine the Patriots. Could they suspend Belichick? I guess they could. Kind of like Sean Payton. Again, I've said time and time again this week, I just don't trust Roger Goodell to really punish Robert Kraft, the Patriots organization, Bill Belichick, because they're all in cahoots. I mean, I don't trust Goodell in that way. Some have said because the way the Ray Rice situation went down, he needs to be stiffer. And maybe that's true. But it's not going to be for the Super Bowl. And some have suggested an 8-game ban. Could Belichick get 8 games next year, but be allowed to coach the Super Bowl? Maybe it's 4 games. Maybe it's 2 games. I just got a tough time believing they're really going to throw the book, no matter how much we want it or how much the fans demand it, or I just don't think they're going to throw the book at the Patriots. I could see a pick and a fine, but suspending Belichick for the Super Bowl, there's no way. And suspending him for half a season next year, I'd find that surprising as well. Raider Leo is in California. He's on 1450 there. What's up, Raider Leo?
Hey, what's up, DA? First-time caller, so permission to come aboard.
Granted, my man.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm a big-time Raider fan, so I've been hating the Patriots ever since the Tuck rule. So ever since then, it's pretty bad with the Patriots.
Gotcha.
Other than that, I had to agree with you where Bill Belichick is so arrogant and trying to tell us that we don't know the game. And the way he put it with the ball being, he knows how to make it bad, sloppy, sticky and all that stuff. He obviously knows how to make the ball better. There's no way he could just tell us that we don't know anything like that. For him to say that he knows how to make the ball bad, he does know how to make the ball good. So it kind of just pisses us off, and hopefully he gets a draft pick taken off,
Well, I think here's what I keep coming back to. You don't deflate the footballs unless it's an advantage. There is no reason to do it unless it's an advantage. Right? So if you're doing this to gain an advantage, somebody has to know. There's no purpose behind doing it unless it gains an advantage. And it's not going to be a ball boy, a rogue equipment guy, somebody in the chain gang, one of the guys that are dressed as 1700s Patriots with the rifle, the muskets in their hands. They're not going out of their way to deflate footballs going, I know this is going to help the Patriots, but they don't even know it. So the first guy that's got to know it is Brady. And then the second guy that you would imagine knows exactly what Brady knows is Bill Belichick. Because you're not doing this unless it's an advantage. There's no reason to. There's no reason to doctor footballs unless you're gaining an advantage. So suddenly some rogue ball boy is going to do it?
You want your mothership spicy?
DA, what's going on, baby? Good morning.
Or original recipe?
Oh, DA, love you.
DA on CBS Sports Radio.
Love ya. What does it mean when Geico says just 15 minutes could save you 15% or more in car insurance? It means you should probably have gone to geico.com 15 minutes ago. And when your battery loses its power, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Pick up a Superstar battery that's an exact fit for your vehicle. O'Reilly Auto Parts has a reliable, hardworking Superstar battery you can count on. O'Reilly, better parts, better prices every day. If you were listening last night here on the DA show, you heard Jay Berman.
Call him a porker. He'd giggle.
Who we affectionately call Bully Berman around here because he oftentimes bullies Mraz. do an update for the ages. He was trying to describe the team that Baylor was playing, and basically it's one of the most disgraceful updates in CBS Sports Network's history, and certainly one of the most disgraceful updates ever done on one of my radio shows.
All right, DA. So much ball talk. I'm sweaty. For the first time in the history of CBS Sports Radio, I'm about to tell you about a college team I've never heard of. It's the season opener for Houston something. I honestly don't know the name of this team, but they're playing Baylor tonight. They've got a record of 0-0 coming in.
Hell of an update, Jay. Hell of an update.
I don't even know. Have you ever heard of this team?
You haven't named the team yet.
Houston Tillotson?
What a professional.
It's an out-of-conference game.
Pro's pro, this Jay Berman.
Anyways, Baylor's actually losing to a team that's opening their season tonight.
We got it!
28-22. First half, 6 minutes to play. How about that? I'm Jay Berman.
How about that? How about that, Jay? Now, how long are the updates supposed to be? Top of the hour, they're 2 minutes, and then the bottom of the hour, they're 90 seconds?
I think it's like a minute 45.
Minute 45 are both updates?
I'm pretty sure that's James's territory.
It's 2 minutes at the top and 2 minutes at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, so I was wrong.
Nice job, Morass.
Nicely produced.
Okay.
Executive producer of the show.
Exactly. I don't know how long the updates are. I don't know.
I just go till the music bed ends. That's out of my league.
I don't know how much pressure the footballs have.
There you go. So maybe it is believable.
So it's a 2-minute update. We just played you that snippet. That was exactly, I believe, 55 seconds, right?
Exactly. The other minute 5, I think, were NBA scores.
So Berman took a half of an update to give you that, okay? So what ended up happening was he was kind of right. This was really odd. The Baylor Bears, who are a nationally ranked team out of the Big 12, obviously, ended up destroying Houston Tillotson or Tillotson or I don't know. They are an NAIA team, okay? And this game was originally scheduled hoping that it would be featured in a movie called Coach Carter with Samuel L. Jackson playing Coach Carter, Ken Carter. So he's a coach, obviously, life story, inspiration behind this movie. And this second movie was meant to feature a scene in which the real-life Coach Carter would play for this NAIA team in a game against Baylor. It was a plan for Coach Carter to play for Houston Tillotson at age 56. There are plans for this second movie, and Baylor wanted to provide a big-time college opponent to feature them. So Baylor wanted it in a big-time movie and was like, fine, we'll schedule Houston Tillotson in the middle of the season as long as it fits with your filming schedule. However, Carter's plan to play fell through and no movie footage was filmed, but they still had to play the game. So you have this game that was scheduled merely for film and promotional purposes, and then it fell through, but they still had to play. So I don't know how many people went to go see Baylor, Houston Tillotson, or even knew why Baylor was playing Houston Tillotson. I know this. A nationally syndicated update anchor had no idea and wanted to let everybody know. And the best part about that update, Mraz, was that as Berman was doing this, he had a baseball bat in his hand and he was taking cuts like Carlos Baerga.
He treated his chair like it was a lazy boy recliner.
Yeah.
And he had this mini baseball bat and he was just taking cuts as he was talking in the mic, all willy-nilly. I would not put that on a demo.
I like a conversational update anchor. I like a conversational sports talk host. I do think you have to have at least a tad of professionalism and direction and focus when you do this job, though.
And there was none of that on that update. None of that. And started it with the balls comment, too.
Really? I mean, I'm sweating here, DA.
Call him a porker. He'd giggle.
Marcus is next up. He's listening in New York City. He's on the radio.com app. That's free as well on your phone or tablet. What's up, Marcus?
Yeah, I want to express my opinion about the
Deflate-Gate.
Yes,
sir.
The football.
Yeah.
Everybody in the NFL is corrupt. If they want to investigate the if they want to investigate about the football being deflated, they should do an investigation about the Des Bryant catch and all those bad calls the referees be making.
Well, I agree that there's a lot of problems that the NFL has sifted through this year, not always with much success. I mean, Roger Goodell has constantly been quite a headache, I think, if you're a fan trying to root for the league. Now, because they botched Ray Rice or because they botched the Des Bryant call, does that mean they shouldn't investigate the Patriots? I don't know about that. But certainly this year has left a lot to be desired if you're a football fan. Doug is next up. He's in Vancouver, listening on Sports Radio 910. What's up, Doug?
Hey, I'd just like to put my 2 cents in on the Deflate-Gate, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. You know, first of all, I'm a big-time football fan for a long time.
Yeah.
And I love the New England Patriots. I love Belichick, and I love Brady.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you this. If they did it, then they should be punished. But the whole thing is, I listened to ESPN today, and I listened to what they had to say. And they seemed credible to me. They seemed like...
What's the mood of this team now?
He didn't know, and Brady said he didn't know. Now, if that's found that it's not true, then, hey, throw the book at them. But, you know, to continue on, I think it's a bunch of people that are just, you know, jealous of them because they're successful.
Yeah, I think that's a lame way to look at it. I think that's a classic kind of Patriots fan way to look at it through Patriots lenses. Everyone hates us, and so they're coming out to get us. I mean, that's, you know, that sounds like when you're the kid that keeps getting caught in school on cheating and say, yeah, but the teacher's always looking for me. Everyone else is doing it. Not a good excuse. Not a good excuse at all. If you are in violation of rules, you don't have much leg to stand on. Now, could you say, yeah, but DA, the rules are fuzzy. A lot of people are doing it. Sure. But do not sing me the swan song. Don't bring out the violin, but they're out to get us. Man, it's not the Colts' fault you got nailed on Spygate. It's not the Ravens' fault you got nailed on Spygate. It's not the rest of the NFL's fault that you couldn't take no for an answer in Spygate. Sorry. Let's go ahead and play this one out. Next year, we find out that Sean Payton, coaching the New Orleans Saints, put a bounty out to hurt Aaron Rodgers. Would Saints fans be warranted in saying, but they're out to get us? Man, you got nailed before. Not my fault. The guy that comes to traffic court, everyone was speeding. Yeah, but you've gotten into 2 accidents speeding, and you've got points in your license, and you've got 3 outstanding violations. Not my fault, man. I don't want to hear they're out to get us. You put yourself in that spot. Belichick put himself in that spot. Again, if you took this violation in a vacuum, I've even admitted, I don't know how serious this is. But I'm not here to tell Patriots fans, pet them on the head and say, no, you're a good boy. You guys have been fine. They're out to get you. You're right. I mean, that's just coddling. If you broke the rule and you have broken rules in the past, yes, people will come down harder on you. What don't you get about that?
The funk lives aboard the mothership.
I'm dodging deer and listening to you guys every single night. I greatly appreciate the entertainment.
DA on CBS Sports Radio.
22 minutes past the hour. Appreciate you dropping on by, being part of the DA show, whether it's 5 minutes a week or 4 hours each and every day. Thanks so much for dropping on by. Here is your phone number, 855-212-4CBS.
You listen to me, DA. You shut your mouth and you shut it good.
855-212-4227 on Twitter, DA on CBS. Not a good day for the New England Patriots. It's where we begin as we play the best audio of the day.
Yeah, is this thing on? Hello?
Sound audio vibrations transmitted through the airwaves. And sometimes it's epic.
We talking about practice. We couldn't do diddly, poo.
You play to win the game.
If you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time,
I already did it twice.
You better.
I bet I do.
Effective immediately. I am banning Mr. Sterling for life.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
The day's best audio. It's DA's Sound Check.
All right, let's start with the greatest wide receiver ever to play the game, Jerry Rice, who joined the Jim Rome show earlier today here on CBS Sports Radio and pointed the finger right at the Patriots.
A lot of people just don't want to say it, and I'm just going to be point blank. I feel like it's cheating because, you have an edge up on your opponent. If they win the Super Bowl, I feel it's going to, there's going to be an asterisk put on it. When people think about the New England Patriots, they're going to think about, Spygate. They're going to think about those inflated footballs.
I would agree. I think now, because here's the thing with Spygate. It's hard to really say that Spygate built the Patriots because they've gone back to 2 Super Bowls since Spygate happened. I mean, they've won the division. They've gone to the playoffs. They've won playoff games. They've gone to the Super Bowl. I know they haven't won a Super Bowl, but look, it kind of tends to even itself out. The first 3 championships, they won by a field goal. The last 2, they kind of lost by less than a touchdown. So it evens itself out in a lot of ways. And it's hard for me to say, well, Spygate got them and won them 3 Super Bowls when you're this good without after the whole thing. But now when you look at the legacy of Bill Belichick, now you got 2 of these things on it. And I agree. I think that no matter what happens in this Super Bowl, if the Patriots do win, it's going to be a tainted championship. It has to be. This is going to be the overwhelming story of the game. If the Patriots find a way to win, you'd have to say, well, they did it amidst distractions, and congratulations to them. But how many people will really feel like that was a legit Super Bowl championship? It won't have an asterisk in the record book, obviously, and it's just going to be from fans and media. But if the Patriots win, this will be Deflate-Gate Super Bowl. The Patriots probably don't care, because they'll still get to hang a banner and you get to have a parade and nobody takes away that from you. But in the minds of a lot of people, yes, I tend to agree with Jerry Rice that this taints whatever the Patriots accomplish coming up on Super Bowl Sunday. The Browns introduce their new offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo, is his next starting quarterback, September 2015. Is that guy on the roster right now?
Well, we're not sure if our starting quarterback's in the building right now or not. If he is, that's great. If he's not, that's great too. And whoever's in that room is going to be coached hard, be held accountable, and being expected to do the things that we expect out of Cleveland Browns quarterbacks.
I think that's a pretty interesting quote. Again, the Browns are going to give no assurances to Johnny Manziel. Manziel clearly didn't earn them at the end of the season. He did not play well, obviously got injured also, and so you shouldn't assure him anything, but it seems pretty obvious that the Browns don't want to spoon-feed him anything. They don't want to guarantee him anything. They want him to have to fight for his job and create motivation and create competition, which I don't blame them for. But you're going to hear this throughout the offseason, that nothing is guaranteed to Manziel. We might not have our franchise quarterback because they want him to be hungry and motivated, and they're not convinced that he is. And finally, the sports pope, Mike Francesa, on WFAN in New York. This is great. Here on the DA show or any sports talk that you're listening to, if somebody jumps on speakerphone, you can barely hear them. You got that echoey sound, and it can be quite annoying to the listener and the host. But this is what makes Mike great. I mean, he's number 1 in New York for like 20 years. The guy is on TV every day nationally. He's a living legend. And if you come on speakerphone on his show, he will absolutely blow his top.
Mike in Little Falls. What's up, Mike?
How you doing, Mike? I don't know if you're fully aware of it, my face on the Fox.
Get off the speakerphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Start over because no one heard. Excuse me. No one heard anything you said. Can this guy not hear me or what? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Is there any chance you get him on sometime this afternoon?
Can you hear me?
Talk about his statement.
Can you hear me? Well, then why don't you be quiet for a second and start over? I asked you to get off the speakerphone. Nobody heard anything you said, so start over, okay? Now start over. Go ahead.
That's the best. Erica Herskowitz joins us here on the DA show. She works with Mike quite a bit over at WFAN.
I do. Sports Talk Radio 101. Are you kidding me? Get off the speakerphone.
I love the fact that when he says, get off the speakerphone, the guy hits a button and sounds worse. He's like, oh, yeah. Sorry, Mike.
What I love is typically Mike would just hang up on someone like that, but like today he was like in a generous mood where he gave him the time of day. He like put up all through that nonsense, and then he went back and gave him another chance, which is very benevolent of him.
Start again. Start again. Start again.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Start again.
I love it.
Can this guy hear me?
Can you hear me?
Whereas you used to work over at WFAN, there's nothing better than when Mike gets ticked off about somebody's cell phone or speakerphone or whatever. That's the best radio going.
Just hearing him get mad, he gets mad like no other. He doesn't get mad where he screams and yells. He gets mad, and you can't help but just start cracking up back. It's unbelievable.
That guy also
Can you hear me?
Keeps talking. He has this tape that's like 5 minutes long, and he's not listening to Mike.
And the best part about that clip is I still don't get what his take was, even if you try to sift through what was underneath Mike talking about.
Why can't this guy hear me?
And he's looking at the producer and the board op, too, as if they're going to be able to answer that question. I've been there. We don't know, Mike.
Can you hear me?
I want to hear this in its entirety one more time. Rarely does Soundcheck get a replay, but Soundcheck needs a replay with this one.
Mike in Little Falls. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? I don't know if you're fully aware, baby. My face. On the Fox
get off the speakerphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Start over because no one heard. Excuse me. No one heard anything you said. Can this guy not hear me or what? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Is there any chance you get him on sometime this afternoon?
Can you hear me?
Talk about his statement.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Well,
you.
then why don't you be quiet for a second and start over? I asked you to get off the speakerphone. Nobody heard anything you said, so start over, okay? Now start over. Go ahead.
There's nothing better.
It's like
there's nothing better than Mike asking the same guy, "Can you hear me?" when the guy doesn't answer 5 times in a row.
I love
Can
how
you
Mike,
hear me?
Mike has this way of making grown men feel like children.
Absolutely.
Like they just like can't. Like,
Can you hear
they're, like,
me?
being scolded. I love it. I love it.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? The guy just keeps talking. Obviously
Can
not.
you hear me?
Because he won't stop talking.
I mean, they work so hard to get their points in. They're so afraid they're going to get cut off. So pathetic.
That's so great.
So
oh,
hilarious.
man, that is great.
Ah.
Oh.
He's kind of like the soup Nazi in Seinfeld, where like there's that protocol you got to follow, and you just stand in line, and once you have your time to order, he just goes off ordering, and Mike's just talking all over him.
No soup for you.
Oh, that's from WFAN in New York. Earlier today, also heard on Fox Sports 1. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227 on Twitter. DA on CBS. Paul is in Reading, Pennsylvania, listening on 1240. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing, DA?
I'm doing good. What's up, buddy?
I guess I kind of have a really different view on the whole thing with cheating across the board in sports.
All right.
I played a sport in water polo that the unwritten rule of it was whatever happens underwater happens, and it's okay. And also, as a baseball coach, if a catcher let his knee slide out a little bit too far and you could see a sign, I would yell the batter's number or something, like say, "Come on, number 11, come on, 1-1, whatever," to let him know like a curveball's coming. So, I mean, I guess I look at it that people don't always realize how much happens in sports that they don't see. That's actually kind of what you would call like a cheat, but it happens more than people think.
I think that's fair, Paul. I think a lot of people believe that everything's on the up and up all the time and want to believe in an even playing field, but ultimately there's a lot of little things that happen during the course of a game that might not be. I would also say, though, that the quote, "whatever happens under the water happens," is very saucy. That's a very, very saucy type of quote here for the show.
She's a bad girl, David.
Whatever happens under the water, I mean, it just happens, man. I can't control it. You know, we know the footsie that is being played during water polo. Just not nice. But, yeah, I think that's fair, that people might not understand the extent of the stuff that happens here. But also you have to realize if there is a rule specifically levied against it and you're called out on it, you're prone to be found guilty. I mean, I think that the analogy of speeding is a good one. The speed limit is 55. If you go 57, you can gripe about it. You can complain about it. If everybody else is going 60, you can go to court and complain, but the judge doesn't really care. If you broke the speed limit, there's evidence of it, you're going to get popped. Now, maybe if it's not 57, but, if it's 65 instead of 55 or 64, look, technically you can get a ticket. So what are you going to do? And I think in the Patriots case, not only have they had tickets in the past, they have points on their license. It's very obvious after Spygate that the Patriots don't get the benefit of the doubt, nor should they. So don't take me to traffic court and then say, but it was only 5 miles over the speed limit and everybody else was doing it. Yeah, but you know what? You've gotten into 2 car wrecks before and have 3 speeding violations on your resume, and I got none. So, sorry, it doesn't work that way.